flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I think we were out of sync.
We had the echo.
We need to have Luke Johnson here next time. Thank you all for coming. I move to approve the consent agenda and approval of the agenda.
Second.
Any questions or discussions? With the amendments given to us, if that's okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Good. No one from the audience. Is Hollis and Miller here?
No, they asked me to remind everyone of our work session, May 20th, 7 o'clock in this room.
7. That's next Monday, correct? Yeah. All right. All righty, Randy, the 2013 budget.
In the last few years, you may recall that one of the things I started practicing was budgeting closer to what real numbers would be, because they started taking money away from us in the middle of the school year, and did that a couple of years in a row. And it used to be we'd under budget and then republish, and what that would do is save local taxpayers. And so, but this year the audit came in a little bit to our surprise, and if you look at the handout, and I pulled it up there, you can see right here what we budgeted, and you got 3576.3. That's a weighted FTE with all the weightings in it times the per pupil amount. After the audit, we came in at 3604, and basically that translates to a little over $100,000 that we can republish and get for our general fund. So with that, I'm recommending that you always have to have a budget hearing, just like with the regular budget in August. I'm recommending that the beginning of our next board meeting in June be a budget hearing, and then we'll approve the budget as republished so we can pick up the extra cash.
Do you want to do that right at the beginning of 7 and then the board meeting to follow?
Right.
Okay. Any questions for Randy on the 2013 budget? Okay. I move that we establish a budget hearing to republish the 2013 budget at our June board meeting at 7 p.m. prior to our regular board meeting.
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Very good. All righty, building, grounds, and equipment. Did everybody have a chance to look at all of those reports? Any questions for our lone brave soul out there, Mike Williams, on his report? What?
He's still way.
I don't have any questions. Any questions on those?
Did Steve have his hand up?
You want to say something, Steve?
Yeah, I do want to remind everyone, I put the graduation information in my report. Please make sure you take a look at that. I know it says be there and ready to line up at 9:20. That's for the kids. It's going to take them a little bit longer to get lined up than it will you guys. Just like before, about 9:15, 9:20 at in the front office, we'll get everybody dressed appropriately and figure out how those things go on one more time, and we'll do it again this year. Should be about an hour again, maybe a little longer, and we're going to hope for nice weather, but right now it doesn't look like maybe Mother Nature's going to play nice.
All righty. Any other questions on the administrative reports? I just want to say I appreciate the work you guys do. The reports look awesome, and I think give us a really nice overview of what's going on and a feel for what's happening at the building level. Okay, milk and pizza bid. Randy? It's pretty self-explanatory there.
Beginning with the pizza bids, pretty easy. We made a request for bids and only received one on time. And so my recommendation is to go with Simple Simon on the pizza bids.
Is that
And
comparable to what we had last year?
comparable. We did, one of the vendors, I'll add that we tried to call multiple times, that they've been our vendor in the past, and it just didn't happen timely enough.
Can we put both of these together?
Yeah, let me go ahead and,
Yeah.
Roberts has been the one here lately. This year, Anderson's the lowest, and so my recommendation is to go with the lowest bid of Anderson.
Anybody like to make a motion for those?
Move that we accept the pizza and milk recommendations as presented.
Seconds?
Second.
Any question or discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Very good. Ooh, that's nice. You want to talk about that?
The jump rope.
Yeah,
Well, there was an error, and that's why you have the correction in front of you.
darn.
Yeah, I was a little not too happy with the error, but the recommendation is to accept $300 games gift certificate and a $50 games gift certificate from the American Heart Association. The good news in this, though, is that they did raise over $6,000. So
Okay.
that's good news. And as you know, all gifts have to be approved by the board, and we wanted you to have the right amounts.
Okay. I move that we accept the $350 donation from the American Heart Association for jump rope.
Second.
Any question or discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Very good. Student handbooks.
Those are attached. Just a little bit of background. What I asked the administrators to do this past year is to write a student handbook that's more readable, more usable for their age groups. And the practice in the past wasn't too bad, and it made sense that they'd write one student handbook for consistency's sake. But when parents like to go through their fifth graders' handbook, they have to wade through a lot of stuff that pertains to only the high school or only the middle school. And so what you have are 3 different handbooks, more age appropriate, more school specific about how they should conduct themselves at their school. The only thing I'd like to add is that handbooks and policy books and all kinds of regulations and procedures are always a work in progress. And so I always invite people, if you catch, it can be anything from typos to contradiction. There's lots of things out there that we still may need to clean up. But I think they've done a good job of putting it together, and from year to year this will become more and more cleaned up. The one thing that we talked a lot about this year is citizenship. And some of you know that if you're a high school athlete and you go to a party where they're serving alcohol, that there can be consequences for that. And that usually is in the form of you're representing Lansing High School and you've abused that privilege, and so some of those privileges may be lost. My contention as we started this conversation is that should also apply to extracurricular, co-curricular activities at all grade levels. That we should be taking this opportunity to teach citizenship at all grade levels. And that it's a teachable moment. It's not a punitive thing. That's not what we're after as much as making these things teachable items for students of all ages. So that if a fifth grader gets involved in, say, a sexting event, that we can address it and we can talk about their participation in singing in a concert or representing the school on different levels than just during the school day. So that's a big part, and I invite you when you have time to kind of take a look at that. We're always open to improve it. The one thing that we can't do is put every single conceivable situation in a handbook. And so if it looks to be in generalities or that kind of thing, it's some of that's on purpose so that we can cover everything, but at the same time we know that we can't cover everything that a student may get involved in. So with that said, I'm proud of our principals for working hard and working together. They kind of have their own little PLC going before school, and so it's kind of neat.
I mean, they teamed on this, Randy?
They did. They
All right.
teamed.
Any questions for the administrators from the board on the various handbooks at the grade levels? I move that we approve the handbooks as presented.
Second.
Any questions or discussions? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Very good. Middle school iPad proposal.
I do have some help, Susan is here, so if you have any teacher-specific questions, she'd be happy to answer those. Last year in April, we came with our middle school science proposal for iPads, and this year, as Claudia asked the question, what's next? Last year in April, I mentioned that we'd probably be back and be asking for some more technology pieces for the middle school as we see how the science pilot went, and you heard about that approximately 2 months ago, I believe. And this is an extension of that in their curriculum and in their growth as a school, I believe. And so in front of you is what we're going to ask for, and that is approximately 270 iPads in the middle school, cost of $102,330. That gives us 30 per classroom and 9 classrooms. That is more than what the science received because of the way that they teach literature at the middle school. They have more literature teachers. And so what this will allow us to do is have 3 per grade level, 3 classroom sets of iPads per grade level instead of 2 as the science currently have. Then just going down the list, iPad covers. One thing that we have found in the maintenance piece of our iPads this year is that in order to manage those, we need some more MacBooks because of the way that you sync those all at once. And so that's why we have the MacBooks in there. The iPad carts, each of the classroom sets will have a cart that will allow us to sync all of those much more efficiently than doing them 1 or 6 or 7 at a time. The carts will do 30 at a time. One thing, as Susan and her group were looking at, one of their major concerns is that as I'm going to be producing and writing, which is going to be a large part of our new assessment piece, my kids have to be able to type. And that's not going to go away for a while. And so I believe my comment to Susan was, and I think it was good and bad all at the same time, is I don't care if you need a keyboard to type. I care if the kids need a keyboard to type. But as we go through, it is something that is a skill that they're going to need at least for the foreseeable future. Siri will do a lot of things, but Siri won't do everything. And so that is one thing that we added in that you did not see last year in our proposal was keyboards. The folks that have used one, Nineveh Carban being one in a lot of our meetings, she's used to it. You can get a full-size keyboard, relatively cheap, $20, that allows them to still produce papers, not paper. One other thing that is, I think, important when I say produce, that the iPads will allow us to do, is that there's a lot more production that can happen. And that would be including videos, as Ann Andrews has done in her classroom in the last month, creating some movie trailers, those type of things that you don't get that are more cumbersome out of a regular PC. As you go on down, you see iPad repair. We've had a pretty good year in the iPad repair. Our gentleman that does that repair is amazed. I think he thought we were going to spend a lot more money with John than we've had to this year. I believe we've had approximately 5 or 6 middle school iPads that needed to be repaired. We've had more in the elementary school. We've had some teacher ones that have had to be repaired. So that would be a very high number, I believe, but I just want to make sure that we put that in. And then teacher professional development and curriculum development. One of the major things that the science teachers have mentioned has been a very good thing that they do get together once a month, the 3 core teachers, and they meet one day a month together. We get them a sub, and that would include that time. They talk about some of the struggles that they have. They talk about ways to better integrate. I know that they went to Baser Linwood, who is 1-to-1 actually at Baser Middle School, and they talked to them about some of the things that they have done, some of their struggles. And it was good to hear. Stacy Jenkins actually mentioned the other day they felt kind of good about where they're at. They thought they were way behind, and she said, I feel pretty good about where we're at with a lot of our apps and different things. I compare that to our traditional textbook costs. By the way, that $153,000 is a rather large number. But if you look at our traditional textbook costs and what we would end up with, it's still about $87,000. So not quite double, and I think that you receive a lot more for your money in the technology pieces. Some of our benefits, and these are along the same lines. If you go down to number 3 about allow students to do work, homework, quizzes, tests, and send to the teacher. Through Skyward, a lot of our middle school teachers have been assessing students rather quickly through the Skyward portal. They log on to Skyward, they can take their quizzes and tests, just a real short check for understanding type of things, and they can get instant feedback on that. It's reported automatically into the teacher gradebook, and the students know automatically how they do. Something else, if you go on down about many open source materials and authentic informational text documents are available online, can be uploaded and saved on paper. That's something that I think we'll see more and more of. We don't teach from a textbook. And so before I would stand up in front of you and ask you to approve a textbook that many assumed was our curriculum, and it's not exactly, it shouldn't be our curriculum. Most of our textbooks are written for another state because, quite frankly, they're a lot larger than we are. And that's where the money is. And so I think that our teachers have a wonderful opportunity to really get into the things that we believe our students need to know. You go on down to...
Dan?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, Mom.
Yes, ma'am.
Just a quick question. When the kids get their feedback on what they've done, if they've missed something, do they get like a short tutorial they can go through and do
Not
it
yet.
correctly? Not yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
That is nice, though.
Yeah, that would be nice.
And that's, there are programs that do that. Actually, our sales program that we have, that we've approved here, is something that when you miss that, and let's say you pick the most common missed answer, it brings up a video of a teacher once again explaining that to you, and there's some instant feedback there. But these are short, quick type of things that our teachers haven't developed all of that yet.
Okay.
That can be a lot of work. So
Yeah.
that's a great idea, though. Let's go on down
Okay.
to some of the drawbacks. In the second one, the increased management for additional electronic devices that run independent of our current systems. That is one thing that the teachers have found. It's different work. And so in essence, they're used to taking papers home, they're used to grading papers, they're used to planning lessons, they're used to doing all of that. This is going to become the new work for many of our teachers, and I think any of them that have technology in their classroom, you see a lot of them nodding their head. It's the new teaching. And if you're going to have those resources in your room, you're going to deal with it. One other thing, kind of a side note that I need to make sure that I do mention. One thing that has come out of the middle school, and I believe that as you look at our new high school, we've talked about it also being one-to-one. I think this is a great opportunity. Our kids will be ready, and we're going to spend a lot of time next year as we plan our professional development, making sure our high school teachers are ready. The middle school teachers, they're ready, some of them right now. They asked some questions about the proposal and said, why can't we be one-to-one next year? Why can't we be one-to-one next year? Why can't we be one-to-one next year? And that's a core group that I think are ready. And we're going to work on making sure that they're all ready. Because I think that in a year, Claudia, we'll be back again, and I think our middle school, as soon as this hopefully gets approved, we'll be looking at that next year, and then when our high school opens in 2015, we'll be ready at the high school also. So, do you have any questions? Susan also said she was more than willing to answer any questions in there, right?
Any questions? I have one. When you think about accessing information electronically, the idea of plagiarism becomes much easier. How is that addressed in a writing assignment when you go from paper to electronics? Do we have a software package that can screen papers for plagiarism and copied work?
We do not have one currently, no. But if that is something that the literature teachers would like to look at, I'm sure that that's something that will be investigated. So,
Is that an issue now?
As with anything, you know your students, you know their writing style, you know pretty easily if what they're presenting to you is not their own work. And, then you can go further into researching it.
Okay.
there are programs out there.
There are. I mean, I'm not for sure how good they are, but
Right.
but at least they're like a first layer screen that can give you some help. Okay. Any questions for Dan? That was a good sales job, Dan.
Thank you.
You're working on it. That's good.
Worth time.
That-
God says,
that's-
"You have a
you
meeting
stood up
today?"
straight and-
Yes,
yeah.
I do, so. She
I
said,
moved-
don't be too late.
Just one question for Randy. We can afford this?
Yes.
Okay.
I
I
might,
did a good sales job on him too.
I think Dr. Whitlow made a great comment about the plagiarism, and I wanted to tell you that the software is based on a logarithm of any 3 words in a row and so forth. But just as Susan said, they know, and a lot of my friends in other school districts and so forth, if you suspect it, you can take 4 or 5 words in a row and Google it or your own search engine, and you'll find it just about every time. So the dangers of not so much catching them, but making that another teachable moment about plagiarism and so forth is it's very ripe with those possibilities.
I move that we approve the middle school iPad proposal as presented.
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Very good. Thank you, Dan. Summer school staff recommendations. This is an action item, but I'm not sure we have to discuss a great deal. Carrie always does a good job of putting together a nice mix of individuals to teach the various grade levels and skill sets. Any questions on that for anybody? I move that we approve the summer school staff recommendations as presented.
Second.
Any question or discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Very good. I move that we enter executive session for a period of 30 minutes, beginning at 7:30, to discuss non-elected personnel matters affecting students, confidential financial data, trade secrets, and negotiations.
There's trade secrets in there?
We have trade secrets?
Never know. Any question or discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any questions or discussions? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Very good. Appointments and transfers.
I move that we approve the hiring of Bethany Delich as an elementary school teacher, Jeremy Farr as an elementary school teacher, Sue Anderson as the elementary school assistant principal, Cyril Tubblesing as the middle school social studies teacher, Nancy Rogers for middle school math, Sean Price for the high school culinary arts position, and Zachary Craig for the high school physical education position, and the transfer of Connie Evans from 4th grade to 3rd grade, Jessica Olowski from 3rd grade to 5th grade, and Mary Ann Austin to transfer from 2nd grade to reading recovery.
Second.
Okay. Any, any questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Very good. 8.4 supplementals.
Move that we approve Jennifer Bishop as the middle school track and Billy Dillon for the high school head boys soccer.
Any question or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Very good. 8.5, I move that we approve the 2013-14 out-of-district students as presented.
Second.
Any question or discussions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I move that we approve the 2012-13 substitute teacher list as presented.
Second.
All in favor? Oh, any questions or discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Good. I move that we adjourn to meet on May 20th at 7 p.m. for our building construction Board of Education meeting.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Very good. Thank you all for coming.